Hi, this is Stacia, and today I'm going to share a tournament game that I played this week in a tournament called the Tuesday Tussle. And basically, it's one game per week for 5 weeks, and I'm the second lowest rated player in the section, and it's a round robin type thing. And in game number one, I faced Jim Antoline, and so Jim Antoline is a past coach of mine, and now I have to meet him on the chessboard. So it's pretty interesting, and I hope you enjoyed this game. So let's go through it. I opened with e4, and already I had a decision because I had a conversation with him recently where he told me he was planning lines against my King's Gambit and against, I forget something else too. Oh, my Banco Gambit. So I could have played d4 here. This isn't my repertoire. But I decided that I'd rather learn from this game. And so I played e4 and f4. So this is a King's Gambit. And what I'm saying is, okay, let's see what you got. What do you have planned? Well, his plan was pretty good. But let's see why. So he takes the pawn. I play knight f3. This is just to stop checks on h4. And then he went with knight f6. This is called the shallop defense. And I pretty much expected either this or d5, which is the modern. I used to play knight f6, so I'm familiar with the shallop. And now I play d5. Okay. Apparently my arrows aren't erasing. E5 is the main move, which I think next time I could consider a move like knight c3 if I wanted to switch things up. But e5, it's committal, but it does attack the knight. Now the knight comes to h5. And if you're not familiar with this variation, it might look like a knight on the rim. A knight on the rim is dim. But you've seen the title of this video. I'm not talking about him being mighty on the h5 square, but okay. He is serving a purpose here. So white would like nothing more than to play the moves d4 followed by bishop takes f4 and win this pawn back with a tempo and development. So the knight is actually serving a role here on h5. He's not allowing that. But at the same time, we have this. So it doesn't do anything yet, but it's something that black has to keep in mind if they want to play this way. Okay, so I went d4, and I'd like to take the pawn. I can't do that yet. And he played the move d6. So I wasn't expecting this move. I was actually expecting d5. So here I was kind of on my own already. Now I actually have preparation for next time, so I'm not going to share what I think I should have did. But I took the pawn here, and he took with the bishop, and this might be inaccurate for that reason because the bishop is now also guarding the pawn, and black also has these ideas. And basically, if black is successful in holding onto this pawn, then not only will he be a pawn up, but my dark square bishop will be crying. So I don't want to really allow him to do this, and yet I kind of helped him. So okay, I played bishop e2. This looks natural. Computer already says this is a mistake. And I think the reason is I'm running out of chances to create anything. It wants queen a2 check, which is not a move you want to play. But let's continue. Bishop e2, he castled, I castled. And so at this point, I'm basically a pawn down. It's hard to say what my compensation is. Definitely some center control, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like much to me. And the knight comes back. So when knight f6 can be played comfortably like this, then I feel like maybe something went wrong because this often isn't able to happen in the shallop. But because I allowed the bishop to come and defend the pawn, so basically then the knight doesn't have to serve that role on h5. And now bishop g4. So a very natural move. Very natural move. And I played the move knight b5. So I think my idea is pretty clear, but I also think it doesn't work. All right, so the knight comes to b5 in the king's gambit often in these types of structures because you want to take this bishop. He's annoying. And that way he won't be defending the pawn. The problem is when you do that, you're helping black's queen come up, and then the queen still helps. So it's not perfect, but it's kind of what I was hoping here with maybe a knight e5 at the right moment. Notice that the knight on e5 would sever the connection between the queen and the pawn. So that is kind of what I was playing for here. And he went knight c6. And now c3. Yeah, I think c4 is probably more ambitious, threatens more things like this and this. But yeah, I don't know why my arrows aren't erasing. But okay, I played c3. And I thought, all right, yes, he has his pawn, but this is a game of chess, okay? So the computer might say that I'm worse here. But in reality, black has to still play well in order to convert an advantage like this. And there will be tricks and traps, of course. So, okay. Yeah, and this move. So now the story of the knight becomes clear. Honestly, this is something I missed during the game, that this knight would have a nice little journey. He went to h5, back to f6, and now here. And I missed this move. The knight is ready to jump into e3. And that's a nice little square for the knight. He can be easily supported with moves like rook here and queen e7. And it's looking shaky for white, I have to admit. Pretty shaky for white. Okay, I played queen d3. I honestly didn't know what to do here, but I want to get the pieces off my back rank so that my rooks can be connected and I can complete development. Still hoping to win this pawn, you know, with a move like knight e5. Maybe that could work at some point. But I wanted to unpin first. Okay, rook e8 was played. I took the bishop, and he took with a pawn. Okay. So it looks weird that he took with the pawn, but I actually set up a nice little trick. And so he was correct to take this way. If he takes with a queen, do you see what I would play here? Yeah, I have the nice move knight g5. And it might not even work, because I'm kind of wondering now. Like if he takes here, I was thinking this would be checkmate, but it's actually not checkmate. He goes here. And I wonder if he's surviving somehow. I did give up a piece. If I check here, the king moves out. I don't have rook here. Wow. So maybe I have to go like this. Attack the bishop. The bishop's still defended though. Oh, maybe he can do something like this. Okay, I don't know. So actually, I don't think my trick was so good in hindsight. But it did cost him to take with a pawn, so that's good. All right, so here we go. Now he has an isolated pawn. I feel like that's something for me to work with at least. And I played h3. Now the move h3 was intended to tickle the bishop. I think if he took here, I'd be pretty happy. I need my bishop improved. He's sort of in the line of fire right now. And but he did move back. And now the move rook f2. Okay. So not necessarily a desirable move, but I have issues. The knight is currently pinned. So I really need to defend the bishop in order to unpin the knight, and I would like to move the knight. I was actually considering knight h2, which is sort of a desperate type of plan. So let's continue. Rook f2, and the knight jumps in. And now knight h2. And this move is actually a blunder. So if you'd like to pause your video, there's a very specific reason for this. So go ahead and do so now. All right, so I actually saw this right after I played knight h2 in the game. I thought he could go bishop g6, which was played. And the problem that I didn't see during the game right away is that, okay, this is a tempo on the queen, not on the pawn, on the queen. So the thing is, this is a skewer of sorts because he's also x-raying c2 square, which is also controlled by the knight, and also this square, and guess what? If the knight comes here, it's attacking my rook. So long story short, if I go queen b5, which is probably the best move, I think here, I am attacking the pawn, so let's think for a second. I think here he can go knight c2. Yeah, because here's the thing. Yes, I can take the pawn, but then he plays rook c8, and he's very solid up here. The knight defends the pawn, the queen defends the rook defends the knight, and this is all very nicely coordinated for him. And now he has moves like this and this against my queen. So I don't know that taking the pawn is all that great. And now he could actually play something like, I'm wondering if he can play this right away. Oh, it's my turn. Like even if I go rook b1, trying to save the rook, knight takes here, discovery on the rook. And this is not going to be good for me. I can go here, maybe rook e7 now. Queen a6, probably take now. Okay, so I think here I'm just losing. Yeah, he even can take now, right? Like I can get the pawn, but I think he takes here. This is under fire now. It's attacked twice. Yeah, this looks like it's just lost for black, and I'll check with the computer. Yeah, it's saying -3, so I must just be down material. What is the material count here? Black has 2 rooks, I have 1. I have 4 pawns, he has 5. Bishop, bishop, knight. Yeah, I mean, so he's up material. He's up in exchange. Plus, this is the worst night ever. So, okay. Let's get back to the game. So actually knight h2 is a huge mistake for that reason. The computer gives a very interesting move here instead. Knight to e1. All right, I would not play this move just out of principle. But knight e1 basically controls the c2 square. So pretty funny. But if you have to play knight e1, then clearly you're worse. And the computer does say that white is worse here. Okay. So in the game, knight h2, bishop g6 was played, queen b5 was played, and he played queen e7. Now this is a very interesting move. He's defending the pawn and applying pressure. During the game, I thought this was very strong. Probably it is pretty strong. And I went here, bishop d3. So this is basically a losing move. So if you'd like to pause your video again, see if you can find the crushing blow for black. Yeah, it's not too difficult to find, unfortunately. It's just the move a6. After a6, my queen needs to continue defending the bishop, but I don't know how I do that. I can't go here because of this knight. So what to do? And I can't take here. And I can't really go anywhere good. I'd have to go maybe here and then free bishop. That should be enough to win. So, yeah, my position's just so bad here. I think it's just hard to play, and is losing. Lucky for me, after bishop d3, my old coach played knight d1, and I think he was seeing. He told me after the game that he was seeing like some smothered mate patterns and stuff, and he calculated it out, and he just calculated wrong because he forgot my bishop was guarding the e3 square. So like he wants to go check with the queen and then check again on the e3 square. But the problem is my bishop is guarding that. So, all right. So this is one of those moments that happens in tournament games where you're like, you're sure you're lost, but it always pays to hang in there because guess what? I'm not lost. My opponent made a bad move, and maybe I'm doing okay now. So what did I play? Rook takes f4, calculating that if queen e1 check, I'll just simply bring the rook back. And I saw that he doesn't have this check. So, okay. He did check. I did play here, and he realized he didn't have his the e3 square check. So he played queen g3. So this is a third critical moment of the game. Here, white actually has a win. Yeah. In the game, I played bishop f4, and this is a mistake. And the reason is it allows black to tactically escape. I thought this was very strong during the game. I'm like, ooh, his queen's attacked, and I'm going to take this. And I'm still on the b pawn, and he played bishop takes here, and I was like, oh. And I almost thought I was lost. But then I realized that after takes, I think it's just equal. So let's see. What should I have done after queen g3? Well, I think the answer is pretty simple. The queen's attacking the bishop's attacking the bishop. So he's not defended enough times. So I should fix that situation with bishop takes bishop. Black has no immediate threats on me. Okay, it looks scary, yes. But like let's see, even if knight here, I mean, I'm not sure what that does exactly. I guess he's threatening check. If there, though, I'm kind of wondering, can I go check? Because if he takes here, now the knight is pinned. He cannot go there anymore. And if here, I'm actually wondering if I can just take the knight. Why not? Yeah, I could just take the knight. He cannot take the rook. So, okay. So, yeah, this is strong. He really doesn't have anything working. And probably the best move is to just take the bishop with the queen. It's a good pose for the queen, but the problem is the knight is now hanging, and we just collect him. So that would have been winning for white. So yeah, back and forth game, a comedy of errors, as they say. But that's not so uncommon in a King's Gambit. It tends to be a little complicated. So, all right. Queen g3, bishop f4, which I thought was a tempo move, but it allows this. Also taking with the queen is probably good, by the way. I think that's also fine. I would just take like this. And this is also equal. It's probably the same position, isn't it? It's a little different, but equal. Take the knight. Okay. So rook e2. So the position feels equalish. I don't think I would argue that black's pieces are not more active. He does have a rook on the second rank. But in compensation for that, black has a weak isolated pawn. So I was thinking it's probably equal, but I'm going to have to find a way to dull his initiative. Okay, so I went b3. I actually was trying to trap his bishop with this move, which I don't know. I was seeing stuff like this, and if I could somehow get this in. So he played here. I went a4, bishop back. Yeah, now you can see that if I just had 2 moves, I would be able to fork the pieces, but I don't have 2 moves. So I brought my knight out. Rooks are doubled. And now the move b4. So I'm threatening the fork now. So I actually was expecting this move, but I thought maybe his bishop's a little awkward there. So he went here. Now the computer actually gives an interesting move here, the move c4. I don't know that I would see that move during the game. c4 is interesting because it actually threatens to play c takes b5, and that would be a fork. And it also threatens that if they take the pawn with the b pawn, I take. So I think yeah, what's up with that? Does that work? So I think he should take here with a knight. But I'm confused because the computer says white's winning now. Oh, don't take here. What am I supposed to do? Oh, maybe this? Oh, check this out. When the bishop moves, a couple things I'm noticing. This pawn can be collected now, but also c5. And these pawns are strong. So wow, I missed this idea. This is something that I'll probably study on my own because it feels like a new idea for me, but it looks very interesting. Okay, but I took here, he took here, and I'll show you the rest of the game. Rooks came off, and a5. I think a5 was strong. Yeah, computer approves because, you know, black has a weak pawn on the a file, and now I'm going to have a weak pawn. Well, actually it gets traded. So black doesn't have a weak pawn anymore. And we're playing the ending, and I was very low on time. I had 40 seconds, and my opponent had 10 minutes still. So I felt like he would probably, he's higher rated than me, so I thought he would try to push. But it kind of went like this, and all right. So once the pawns start disappearing, that's good for me because I just want to hold a draw at this point. The less pawns, the easier it is. Yeah, and then the knight trade, I think, should do it. When you're super low on time, I think it's to the advantage of your opponent to keep a lot of pieces on the board and wait for you to make a mistake. So for that reason, I would call this a blunder. I mean, why trade knights? He's making it and then trade pawns. So yeah, after this, I don't think there's any way through. He's trying to get his king in, but my bishop, you know, guards this forever. Yeah, and if he attacks the bishop, I move away. But when he goes back, I just go back. So that's pretty much what happens. And the game ended in a draw, amazingly. So, yeah, that knight on c3, something, or on d3 rather, something horrible happened this game. So let's do a quick recap. It was a king's gambit shallop defense. And yeah, after d6 I took here, which I think I wouldn't play again. I'd play something else because having the bishop come here was a problem. It freed up this knight who ended up, you know, coming into the d3 square. He's the mighty knight. And I mean, anytime you can plant a knight on the 3rd or the 6th rank, that's going to be a huge advantage. That piece becomes worth a rook instead of a knight. Very weak plan on my part, allowing the queen to come out and also defend the pawn. This just didn't work. I needed something better. I don't know what would have been better here. Computer's giving h3 followed by knight e5. So maybe I'll keep that in mind for next time. Yeah, also, I think my best try was to go c4 here. At least that would have stopped this move, right? So, yeah, so the bishop, he pulled back. That seems correct. Rook f2. Yeah, I knew something was going wrong because I don't usually want to play rook f2. And knight h2. So here bishop g6 wins due to what we said about knight c2. And now in this position, a6 wins. Deflection, deflect the defender of the bishop away. Okay, but knight d1 saved me a little bit. Just a miscalculation by my opponent. Yeah, and this move. So I was so excited to play this move too. But I think it's important when you play a tempo move, you have to look at the moves that are even more forcing. And moves that are more forcing are captures, and in checks especially. So not seeing this capture on d3 is, that's a pretty big oversight on my part, and not one that I should be making at my level. So I do consider that a disappointment on my end, because I could have won this game. But as it went, it ended up being a draw. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. Yes, I am on the road to chess improvement. I'd like to become an international master. That is my goal. So my current online rating for USCF, let's see. I'll actually look since you guys are with me. Just hang on a second. We'll just do this real quick. So due to this whole COVID thing, if you're watching this video later, there are no in-person tournaments currently. So, but USCF does have online ratings. So I'm going to click on my name here. You can see I'm 1630 right now. Is that my right? Okay, I'm 1660 currently in USCF. Now, originally I wanted to break 1800, even 1900 by the end of the year, but there's no tournament, so I can't do that. But I'm going to try to do it online. Okay, I've got the whole year to do this. And you can see my last tournament. This was online, this one. I actually won this one, so I played a lower section. And, all right, I should, hang on a second. I'm trying to reformat so you guys can see. All right. Yeah, so there were two sections. This is the open section. Michael Jolson is my boss and my current chess coach. He's actually a master, so I expect he'll break 2200 online. And I won the lower section. And some of these players are actually stronger. Like Jim Verone is actually like 1600 USCF. Dave Bumba is actually like 1700 USCF. So, and Scotty Robinson's like 1200. So it doesn't really show the real strength of people. But I did manage to get my rating to 1634. So in light of the fact that I can't do anything about my over-the-board rating, I'm going to do my very best to break 1800 here. I would love to do that in the summer and then break 1900 by the end of the year. So that's the goal. And I hope that you'll join me on this journey. I'm working hard and all right. Well, anyway, have a great day and I'll catch you later. Bye.